Okay, let's get rolling. Hi, everybody. My name is Vince Cavison. I'm the head of marketing for Phoenix Commerce. I want to thank you for joining us today for a webinar on how to increase conversion 10% while lowering fulfillment costs. I'm here today with Sampath Kannan, CEO of Tejas Software, and Akhilesh Srivastava, CEO of Phoenix Commerce. And we'll be taking a look at the recent surge we've been seeing in online selling, along with some strategies you can use to quickly take advantage of this increase and position your store to thrive in the quote-unquote new normal of the post-pandemic world. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our panelists. Sampath Kannan has more than 20 years experience in e-commerce, order management, and logistics, and he has worked with more than 300 retailers of all sizes across the e-commerce space, helping them achieve top-line growth and operational efficiency. Before Sampath founded Tejas, he was in leadership positions at ADP and What's Cooking Software. Akhilesh Srivastava has over 20 years experience in the e-commerce space, including helping brands like Walmart, Gap, Nordstrom, Nike, and Polo Ralph Lauren with e-commerce related initiatives, and he also ran shipping for eBay before he started Phoenix Commerce in 2017. Let's talk a little bit about the format of our presentation today. So here's the agenda. Basically, we're going to be going back and forth between Akhilesh and Sampath and listening to them speak about the different kinds of upgrades you can make to your online store to take advantage of increased e-commerce traffic. So first, Akhilesh will kick us off, and he'll talk about quick win front-end initiatives you can use to achieve results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Then we'll go to Sampath, and he'll talk about bolt-on fulfillment infrastructure upgrades you can make to improve efficiency on the back end. We'll come back to Akhilesh, and he'll discuss how to use analytics to identify fulfillment issues that may impact the customer experience and how you can improve the experience by proactively addressing these issues. And then Sampath will close out the presentation portion of our webinar with a discussion of how you can actually transition to a state-of-the-art OMS or WMS system in just 6 weeks or less. We'll be sure to leave time at the end of the session for questions, so please submit them in the questions area of your GoToWebinar control box, and we'll leave some time and do our best to get through all the questions at the end of the session. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Akhilesh to kick off our presentation. Akhilesh.
Hey, thank you, Vince, and good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So I'm going to talk about initially to kick it off, right? Because frankly, Vince mentioned the recent surge which we have seen in e-commerce. When it took almost 2 decades for e-commerce to become to get to 16% of total retail sales, and in last few months we have seen from 16% to 27%. So there is a big surge, and with that, e-commerce importance for anybody and everybody who is in retail space has increased a lot. I mean, we are continuously seeing a lot more retailers paying much more closer attention than what it was before. And based on the things, the way they are going from COVID perspective, I think it's fair to say that for next couple of years, retailers will be continuing. They need to continue to really prioritize and frankly meet customer expectations. So talking about that, if you think about what has happened in e-commerce industry in general, when Amazon launched Prime in 2005, and since then they have actually trained their shoppers to look for delivery information from the product page. And what I mean by that is how fast will they get the product and how much pay for it. And then that information, as I said, it starts from such page and continues to product with throughout the page where multiple options are showed for shoppers, essentially based on their convenience. Fit for the shoppers obviously is they have everything they need in terms of making a buying decision right then and there on the product page, instead of tagging them along all the way to the checkout and showing them 5 to 7 days of delivery, which is unfortunately even some of the largest retailers out there, some of the top 10 e-commerce companies in the US, they're still doing that. That's the reality, right? So The downside is obviously not meeting the customer expectations as Amazon has trained us to look for it, is which are not mentioned, they take a big hit in terms of conversion, significant cart abandonment. There is tons of data available out there that research has shown, right, that more than 60% of the people the delivery page as soon as product page. They look for the ship cost right there. And there is very clear data tied to the cart abandonment when people don't need the fast, cheap, or free shipping options. Checkout, almost 45% or more have resulted in abandonment, right? So think about as a retailer out there, you're spending all this money to acquire the customers, but then not being able to surface this very critical shopping information from a customer standpoint when it really matters. It is hurting you badly, both from the top line and bottom line perspective. And then again, talking about last point there is data that 76% of the customer to see multiple delivery / pickup options on the check. So they can choose, as you can see, right? So again, Amazon shows you that they log near you, want to go and pick up from the locker. In the COVID situation, people are more comfortable in and pick up a store type of thing, as well as or getting it delivered to their home. So the importance of this whole thing is continuing to increase, and it will continue to going forward, it will continue to become even more important. So so that's where the retailers have the opportunity to meet the table stakes and start making customer expectation. And now this was kind of the premise of Fenix, right? So with Fenix, that's what we have enabled, right? We have enabled any retailer, any brand who is selling online on their channels, on their direct stores, to provide that visibility to their shoppers. This is an example of Scar Audio, one of our clients, where right there on the home page itself, they are showing a very clear delivery promise to the customer that, hey, if you order today, you can get it by such and such date. And there is also an urgency factor there, right? That obviously this is not a made up date, that order has to be placed within a certain time window in order to get it by a certain date, right? So now anyone who is actually in e-commerce and they are looking to increase their conversion, they are looking to reduce their cart abandonment, as I mentioned, one of the top 5 decision making criteria for the shoppers is delivery information. And that's what we are helping all of these companies provide. This is a second example on how kind of moving on from product-based retailer rail. They launched Fenix right there on the product page. Not only customers get to see that, hey, with free shipping, I can get it on June 25th. This is actually frankly better than Amazon, right? That you don't even have to go to checkout. Right there on the page itself, you can see multiple shipping methods or delivery options which are available to you as a shopper instead of going to the checkout, right? So you know that before even I go further in the funnel, when can I get the product, right? And then if you move along to the from product to the cart page, again, the message is re-emphasized to the customer that, this is what you need to do to get the product. Choose this shipping method to get the product by this particular date, right? And essentially removing, as I mentioned, right, addressing one of the topmost decision-making criteria early on and at every single decision-making point. And if we go to the checkout, essentially the customers are shown multiple shipping methods. Remember, I said that earlier, right, that there is tons of data available out there that 76% of customers, they want to see multiple shipping methods. That doesn't mean that you throw kitchen and sink and you throw them 15, 20 different shipping options. What it means is show them intelligent information, which is kind of hitting the value, what value they get, which is how fast do I get the package and how much do I have to pay for it, right? So those things in a very concise manner, presenting it to the customers, as I mentioned earlier, it results in significant improvement in conversion and reduction in cart abandonment, right? So now if I move along, right? So why have anybody and everybody not been able to do it? The reason is it is very complicated to begin with, right? There are a lot of variables which play a role into it. And it really starts from the product page, right? So what product customers are looking at? What are the parameters for that product? How long, how much does it weigh? What are the dim weights? Because ultimately, remember, your carriers are charging you for dim weight, and then decides how much you have to pay as a retailer to ship the product to the customer. And that's a significant one of the most important and basic fundamental criteria in uh, at these delivery options. Second one is inventory, right? So, okay, this is the product, these are the dimensions and weight, this is how I will ship it. The second critical thing, which frankly is probably one of the most challenging area for majority of the big large retailers, is real-time inventory, right? Which is the best location from where I should ship the product? Should I ship it from, I have multiple DCs or stores from where I am shipping. Should I ship it from a DC, or should I ship it from a store? Which is the cheaper one? And this is where, along with the product, having the inventory information, and then allocation rules, right? That how do you want to allocate inventory? And really that's where a lot of factors interplay here to arrive at just the decision that this product should be shipped from this particular location to this particular shopper, right? That, I mean, as I mentioned, inventory piece itself is a big challenge for majority of the retailers, and that's basically, I mean, that is something solving within Fenix, where we are pulling in inventory from multiple places, from the warehouse landscape perspective, and then we are using that information to dynamically decide what is the best, most optimal location. Next step is, once we have decided that this is the most optimal location, how long does that look based on their capacity, on their operations parameters? People on the floor to pick, pack, ship, if it is a store, or do they have actually only a single person in 2 hours, 4 hours, those type of constraints, right? You have to factor in the holidays. I mean, I'm pretty constraints, like in COVID, running lesser capacity, or there are days when you have to shut down for a few hours altogether, right? So all those, they play a very important role in kind of continuing to come up with right information you want to project to the customers, right? Put in front of them as they are making the decision-making process. And if you move forward, next thing in the kind of the continued puzzle is carrier, right? So essentially, as we have gone through the process, we covered product, inventory, operations, and now carrier is, now you know that, okay, package is ready to go. We have figured out this is the location, this is when they will be ready to ship the package out. What is the most efficient carrier to deliver it to the customer, right? And this is where Fenix actually has the ability, based on, remember I talked about product weights and DIMS, we have the ability to live carrier rate shopping, which service is most cost effective, and also at the same time has the best performance in terms of delivering the package to the customer. So we actually choose kind of, and when I say best performance, that is done using our historical performance models, which we have within Fenix, and deciding. And so while we are choosing the most optimal service, we are also helping retailers save money by doing the live carrier rate shopping. And also, if they choose, they can actually use that information to surface real-time shipping promotions. Instead of having flat ship cost of $5.99 or $10.99, they can choose to surface real-time shipping promotions to the customers in the checkout, right? So carrier is very, very critical piece. And finally, the last piece of the puzzle is essentially at a high level, right? Like shopper. Is it a first-time shopper? Or is this a loyal customer? What is their purchase history? What do they look for always free shipping, or do they actually always opt for something which can be delivered to them fast, right? So taking that is also a very critical component which gets factored into what are the most optimal delivery / shipping or pickup options which should be shown to a particular shopper. So Fenix takes all this information together, brings it down, and we leverage it in our models within Fenix from AI ML perspective, and we surface the information to the shoppers real time, as I showed some examples on the product page, cart checkout, etc. which helps them, which helps basically address shoppers' criteria for making the decisions. And why should they bother? As I covered earlier, right? The reason you bother is the benefit is pretty significant. We are continuing to see across the board, on average, 10% incremental conversion due to the retailer's ability. Now, remember, in all this, retailer doesn't have to put, except Phoenix, right? They don't have to bring in more people. They don't have to change their carriers at the moment. It's essentially leveraging the data, bringing the intelligence, putting Fenix system in the place, and starting to drive significant conversion improvement, significant top line growth, as well as improved profitability, because now Fenix is also helping you make the right shipping carrier choice decisions at the top of the funnel, right? So with that, I'll kind of move along, and Vince, if you want to go to the next slide. Yeah. So what it takes, right? So what we have done, frankly, from retailer standpoint, if you think about it, as I covered a lot of these things. So there are obviously, if you're Walmart and Target, you probably have hundreds and thousands of people at your disposal to do something like this. With Fenix, that what you get is you get the expertise of 3 people like me who have been in this domain, in this industry for 2 decades. And we have actually pre-built a lot of integrations already. So it's plug and play. If you use a platform like BigCommerce, Shopify, or Salesforce Commerce Cloud, where we already have our pre-built cartridges or integrations, the retailers, they can basically stand up Fenix experience on their site within 2 to 7 days, right? Within a week, which is pretty phenomenal. That now within a week, you can start realizing the higher conversion and ROI. And I think that's a great opportunity. I mean, pretty much every single of our customer, they love the fact that just putting this thing in, you start making more money, right? So if you look at the other platform beyond BigCommerce and Shopify, like Magento or SAP Hybris, again, pretty much every single thing which we have built on Fenix, every single thing is accessible by APIs, right? So it's an API-first platform. And everything is accessible to like platform like Magento or Hybris, where we have already done the integrations. It can take somewhere between 1 to 2 weeks to enable this experience on live sites. And finally, again, HCL Commerce, which erstwhile WebSphere Commerce from IBM, or any headless commerce platform, it could be somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks to get all this, get fully integrated, and really start making more money. It's simple as that, right? So I think there are, we have done the hard, all our retailers and brands on their behalf, several years of hard work to get the platform to the stage where now they can take full advantage and really start realizing the value which they are continuing to spend and growing and trying to grow their e-commerce channel. And frankly, they are getting tired of losing to Amazon or their competitors for when they actually have a great value proposition. So Vince, if you want to move to the next one. So now with that, now that we've talked about the front end, how Fenix takes all the back end supply chain efficiencies and puts it in front of the shoppers, I'm going to hand it over to Sampath from Tejas to talk about how this can be leveraged from back end standpoint. Sampath?
Thank you, Akhilesh. That was a really nice summary. I think it adds a lot of value for people who already are running good websites, and can be a quick, ROI addition to them. So what I have also heard from people is, okay, great, but my existing website is not doing that great. With the COVID situation, people are seeing a lot of traffic and increased volume. The website that they have or they had built for okay performance because they just started, or if they just didn't see a lot of growth so far, has been working okay. Now it is about, hey, how do we handle the increased volume? How do we handle the customer experience so the website is stable, it doesn't crash every now and then, and it also gives a good experience for the customer, right? So Tejas Software, we've been working with Salesforce Commerce Cloud, building websites and doing other things. we have an option to build websites using Salesforce Commerce Cloud pretty quickly. The other thing is we also provide our own order management, warehouse management, and purchase order management that is integrated with Salesforce Commerce Cloud, and also to Fenix Commerce that will get all the data that they are looking for in terms of updates to the shipping and everything else available real time to them. So they will be able to trigger communications and also able to get the data they want. So they will be able to continuously update the website in terms of the data that is reflecting the true, operational efficiency. So it is a critical piece of information that they would need that will help you to project the dates to the customer in a really, accurate way. And one other thing that we also can do is we can get you set up either with a website or with the website and all the order management piece or warehouse management piece altogether in one go. We have a complete offering that will actually give you everything you need in a very, very quick time. And that's what we have done for other customers. We would love to help you or at least look at what we can do for you guys. Can you go to the next slide, Vince? So with the website, it is always little tricky. So what we have done is we have a rapid launch program. We have already built 4 different websites based on Salesforce Commerce Cloud, which gives you a lot of out-of-the-box functionalities that the Salesforce platform offers. But we also built our own custom functionalities that will bring more value to the default functionalities that is provided. So we are offering that as a standard launch for Salesforce site storefront reference architecture that can be done in 6 to 8 weeks. So what we provide will be a complete website where you will be able to look at all these 4 websites and then mix and match any functionalities that you would need, and we will be able to put that out in 6 to 8 weeks. It really depends on how fast you can run with us, and we will run as fast as you can. And that's really our value proposition in terms of building new websites. As you know, Salesforce Commerce Cloud is a very stable platform and also can help you grow and scale pretty quick, and also take advantages of a lot of out-of-the-box functionalities that is not available in other softwares. So some of the functionalities that you will get, which are all standard, homepage and category landing page and things like that. We also include 4 integrations, 3 link cartridge we call it. This is standard integration that comes with the Salesforce Commerce Cloud platform with their partners, and we can also offer 1 custom integrations. So that will be a complete website that will be built on Salesforce Commerce Cloud using their latest storefront reference architecture technology. Can you go to the next slide, Vince? So this is just some illustration of the different templates we have. This is pretty much very configurable. You don't have to constantly come to us for any changes. Salesforce has a page designer tool that allows the business users to make changes to these different templates and different banners and things like that you want. Once it is all set up, you can mix and match, and you can pull and make changes without having to go to a developer. It's very powerful, and we have illustrated those capabilities in these templates, and we can send you the links for those websites. And I think Vince, you clicked on one of those. Maybe we can just quickly show that. But that is what you will get. It's a so it's a working site.
Are these clickable?
No, the one that you from the previous page. But if you don't have it,
one of these. Okay.
Yeah. So these are all fully working websites based on the Salesforce Commerce Cloud platform. If you see, when he is mousing over, you can see the different components of the site. You can say, hey, this is a homepage banner, and you can actually get different types of homepage banners. And we also have references for these banners and everything in the websites. So I think it's pretty cool, and in a way that you can exactly see what you will be getting when we build the website, and there is no confusion or there is no surprise, and there is no additional cost than what we agreed on. And that is why we wanted to get this experience to you in a way that it is very, very clear for everybody who wants to build a new website and also see the powerful of the Salesforce Commerce platform. Yeah, you can go back to the other slide. Yes, just move over to the next slide, please. Yeah, this is just another illustration of the same website. Different components and different ways to look at the same type of websites. It's all, like I said, fully functional, very, very extensive in terms of functionalities and what you will get. And like I said, we also have included a lot of custom functionalities that will be given to you as part of our implementation. So you don't have to spend a ton of money for all this different customization. We have taken all the best practices already that comes with Salesforce platform and incorporated our experience and what we have done for other clients, what we see, that is something very powerful or most efficient or most customer experience that increases conversion. That's what we have incorporated in these websites. You go to the next slide, please. Again, one more illustration of the website. Yeah, we can move to the next one. So you can kind of see the variations in these different templates. You can get your own look and feel for what you need. You can also use your existing websites to build the new website, and that will give you something to go with and grow with pretty quickly, and we can get that done like I said, 6 to 8 weeks. Can go to the next slide. Yeah, I'll hand this over to Akhilesh again.
Akhilesh, you there?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Sampath. Can you hear me, Vince?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Hey, by the way, am I coming clear?
Better than last time, yep.
Okay. I think we're continuing to have both Wi-Fi and cell phone issues in our area. All right. Yeah, so we thank Sampath for covering this. So I think we talked about, if you think about the customer journey, we talked about the front end, how you can drive the conversion, reduce cart abandonment, basically make more profits with dynamic shipping promotions. Now we want to switch over, and then Sampath covered kind of the infrastructure component, right? Now in this part, we want to talk about kind of post-purchase, right? That as the order has been placed by the customer, how you can use fulfillment data and analytics information and reporting to proactively address any issues which may impact customer experience. So if you want to get to the next slide, Vince. So what Fenix is doing, right, as I mentioned earlier, if you recall, we obviously are kind of showing the information to the customers on the checkout that these are the different delivery/pickup options. And then following that, when the customer places the order, we have broken down, since we have broken down every single component, if you will, which is how long does it take from the order confirmation stage to print the label, to pick, pack, ship, and print the label, between printing the label to the time which the carrier takes to come and pick up the package, and then finally how long do they take to deliver it. So we have broken down all those components, and then we are tracking this data. Once the order is placed, we get a feedback from the retailers for all those orders. And then as and when they print the label, we get the tracking number. And with that, with our direct carrier integrations, we start getting a visibility into every single event. And we are always measuring and monitoring that how is the projected delivery going to happen compared to the promise which was made to the customer. Is it going to be on track to be delivered on that date? Is it going to be on track to be delivered early, or if something has gone wrong because for whatever reason, if the warehouse is running behind or the carrier has had some issues, is it going to be late, right? So those things are tracked proactively and can be bubbled up to the basically using the data and analytics dashboards which you provide within Phoenix. And customer service associates can take advantage of those visibilities, right? They can take advantage and see how they can really get ahead of issues. Do they want to take any proactive measures? And then, as I mentioned about the component is when the package has been shipped out and how the carrier is actually performing, right? So between are they performing majority of the deliveries 1 day, 2 days, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of data which is available and exposed through Phoenix Business Console as well as through the APIs, which is helping retailers to proactively manage any kind of unwanted, unforeseen experiences related to the customer delivery. So if you want to go to the next slide, Vince. So here again, as I just mentioned, right? So one of the things which we have also enabled recently is since we have every single tracking event, starting from even as soon as the order is processed, the label is only printed and it's waiting for the carrier to pick up. We have exposed a branded tracking page in Phoenix for our clients. And now they can expose it to their customers in return, right? Their end customers who can see that, hey, where is my order? And frankly, what we are continuously seeing is when you make a good promise to the customers right on the checkout, there are very few that itself, a promise, a accurate promise that itself results in almost 75% reduction in people worrying about where is my item or when am I going to get it. But should they have any questions, this branded tracking page obviously again eliminates any other confusion. People have the visibility and they click on the button and they see it where exactly it is, and it is a branded page. So the the end customers, they don't have to go to UPS or USPS or FedEx, punch in their number. It's all kind of seamlessly connected. And then if you want to go to the next one, Vince, yeah. So this is where I was talking about. There's tons of data. This is an eye chart a little bit, but the idea is essentially, as I covered earlier, that we are on the Phoenix side, we are kind of stitching together every single event to give that visibility to not only to your operations people, the retailers, customer service agents. It is critically important for Phoenix to know because our machine learning engine is always kind of as and when we predict a transaction, we keep track of what actually happened, right? Did the shipping happen on time? What we thought was going to happen? Did the carrier pick up on time? Did carrier deliver on time? Did they choose the right shipping carrier service to ship the product? What kind of box did they choose to ship the product? And then this is continuously being leveraged by our machine learning models to continuously improve the future predictions through the platform. If you want to move to the next slide, Vince. So that's kind of essentially we bring it all together from Phoenix perspective. I'm going to hand it back to Sampath to talk about more about OMS and WMS technologies and how we work together there.
Thanks, Akhilesh. That provided a deep analysis and insight into how the data is being transformed into real actionable data. And I think this is where the backend systems that provides and drives some of these processes comes into play. And Vince, you want to go to the next slide? So what Tejas provides, which is very critical for any systems like FenixCommerce, to give the customer a better experience, right? More predictability. We provide data that drives those things. We have 3 different systems, and I would say 4, but order management, which is very essential. Once you get the order, this is where I always tell people that all the backend systems, if they are working very efficiently, if you have a good process in place, this is where you can save money, because for the website, you are spending money to get customers to come to your website and also place orders. Where you spend money in the website, you will be able to save money in the backend systems. This is where we provide an end-to-end solution with our order management system. And the order management is enterprise level platform that can provide a lot of flexibility in your processes and also constantly adapt with your changing business needs. And it won't restrict you to do certain things a certain way. We just allow you to make your process work in the way that you want, and our OMS will support it. Our ability to understand the end-to-end process really provides all these flexibilities, and that is how we built the platform for order management or WMS and PO manager, because we also call it like a digital first ERP, but we don't have all the financial accounting pieces of it. Otherwise, you have a PIM, you have order management, inventory management. We also connect to marketplaces. We accommodate subscriptions. So there are a lot of features that are packed into this OMS, which you cannot find in other OMS solutions. And every time we talk with customers, they are very surprised, and they also feel very complete in terms of what we offer for these solutions. And the other thing is we also have the WMS, which takes care of all the warehouse related operations. All the systems are cloud-based, and it actually has multi-channel, multi-currency, and multilingual where you need it. And it is all tightly integrated. We can hook these systems to any platform, Salesforce, Commerce Cloud, Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce, or any platform that you are in. And if we don't have an integration, we can always get that done as part of the implementation. So it provides you a flexibility to your customers and your business users to take advantage of the efficiency these systems offer. And the FullCommerce is another platform that we have, which is a fulfillment commerce exchange that can help in multiple ways to connect to your stores very likely, or you can connect to other retailers or resellers and get orders from them, so you can actually do a drop ship for them. So we provide a very complete solution in terms of the backend systems that you need. Can you go to the next slide? So if you look at it, this is a typical environment where you have a website. In this situation, we have just used the Salesforce Commerce Cloud, which is pre-integrated, and all these other platforms are also pre-integrated. With Commerce Cloud, you have orders coming in, and we also connect to FenixCommerce to send order updates, order changes, and information that is very close to real time. And they constantly have information. It can be either from our order management system or from the WMS system that we can send information to the FenixCommerce system. And then the orders are routed to multiple stores or different DCs based on what you have, or just one DC or one store. And we also provide a pick and pack solution for the stores. If you are trying to ship from stores, we can enable the pick and pack in your stores, and we can also work with the processes. And we just don't provide the platform and run away. We work with you, we consult with you, and make sure that you are taking advantage of the system and also the best practices in the industry that we have seen across multiple e-commerce retailers. We have worked with big and small, but the one thing that we have found is everybody has the same type of challenge, whether you are shipping 5,000 orders a day or 40 orders a day, because it's the same process, and it's just the volume that brings in additional issues, but otherwise it's all the same. And our system is built to scale as you need, as you grow, and you don't have to look for another system for years to come, because that's our guarantee and that's our promise. And we have customers who have been staying with us for a very long time, and they don't have to have another need for looking to another system for anything else that we don't provide. Can you go to the next system? This is just an expanded view of the same architecture. We can connect to gift card providers, CRM system, financial accounting system like QuickBooks or Oracle Financials, Xero, and we also connect to marketplaces around the world we have more than 30 different marketplaces we can connect to, not only in the US, Europe, Asia Pacific, and all these places, and all the major marketplaces are already connected. So we have all those things in place as a solution. When you get in, you don't have to do extra work to get all these things enabled. You can enable these marketplaces or any features as you need it. You don't have to use everything, and we can set up the way you want it to start with, and then you can kind of move into the system as you need, and then use as much as you need or as less as you need. We can also connect to shipping systems from our WMS or OMS. We already have integrations to quite a few carriers, FedEx, UPS, USPS, DHL, and other shipping consolidators, shipping systems that we have. And the last but not least, the purchase order management. This basically provides the full life cycle of a purchase order that you would want to deal with your vendors. We also have the vendor portal as part of the purchase order management system, and the MyPO manager allows the vendors to log in to this system to see their purchase orders and make updates. And you can also negotiate your purchase orders in the system, where it is easier for you to agree on quantities and price and things like that. The workflow is built in already to enable that. Go to the next slide, please. Can you go to the, yeah. These are some of the brands that we have worked over the years, and collectively, and also different types of systems that we have worked with. So we have a long experience working with retailers, been doing this for a very, very long time. So we know what is the challenge for retailers, growing pains, and also retailers who are well established and still having issues. So we can look at it in different ways and come up with a solution that fits your model, and it's not going to cost you a ton. It's going to be very competitive in terms of cost and also the implementation experience.
Okay.
So that is everything that I wanted to do. Go ahead, please, Vince. Thanks.
Oh, that's yeah. Thank you, Sampath, and thanks, Akhilesh. That was great. We have about 13 or so minutes left, I think, and we've got some questions that came in. So we'll proceed to those. First question is about. I think it's relevant to both of you, so I'm gonna I'll go ahead and let both of you guys answer it in order. It's how are your respective solutions able to help with COVID-19 related trends, including the topic of our conversation here. Are there any other trends that you're seeing? Why don't we start with Akhilesh, and then we'll go to Sampath for an answer on that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great question, Vince, by the way. Thanks for asking, whoever has asked. So so few things which we have seen, right? Initially, when we got into the COVID, obviously there were a few of our retailers who were already on the platform. They actually immediately reacted, said, hey, we certainly have to shut down our distribution center, or we are going half capacity, and so on and so forth. So with Fenix, they still wanted to make sure that that transparency with the customer is, instead of just showing a generic banner saying that, hey, we are late and whatnot, they actually they kind of set a realistic expectation from the customer standpoint. So their call volume from the Wismo perspective did not have any impact at all, actually, right? It didn't go up. Secondly, in last 3 months itself, we onboarded, we have been bombarded by several new e-commerce. And when I say new, for us new, but they have been in the business for some time. We start doing A/B testing for at least 4 new companies in last 3 months, and very realistic expectation. And believe it or not, even during COVID, we have seen all of those results that they have seen somewhere between 12 to 14% incremental conversion when people actually have seen a date on the product page and versus not. So that kind of just validates, because a lot of retailers out there, they are thinking, hey, you know what, our performance is not good. Maybe we should remain vague about it. But what we are continuing to see, and our customers, consumers, they are continuing to tell us, we understand you are going to be late, but we still prefer to have the visibility as opposed to the vagueness, right? So it is, as I said earlier, always more than ever, where people are actually looking for that visibility, and they are that is continuing to drive the conversion. And also in some cases, we are seeing that they are continuing to even pay for kind of that additional visibility and getting the product early. Right.
Great. Should we pass it to Sampath? Sampath, you want to address how COVID-19?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things that we have seen with retailers that we have talked in the last few months is the order volume going up overnight. And like I said, they don't have the systems in place that can handle that kind of a volume. And whether it is the website or the backend systems, where the backend system is going to be more critical. Otherwise, you don't have a lot of people who you can just throw in this because of the COVID situation. You need a really, really efficient system that can be flexible and can scale. So people are struggling with shipping orders, and that's not a good thing because you have the order in, and you are supposed to be making your best effort to send it as soon as possible. So that is one thing that stands out for customers. Even in these situations, waiting for a week is okay. If it's going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 4 weeks, then it's going to be a problem. So I think people have struggled through that, and we have talked with at least 6 different retailers in the last 2 months, where the same story, order volume has gone up, and our systems are not able to deal with it. And I think that is where we have, come up with this idea even before with this rapid launch, and also plugging our system for different commerce sites that can get going, but within 6 to 8 weeks.
Great, thanks for that, Sampath. We have a question here that also probably applies to both, and the question is, how do these systems help you decide which warehouse is the closest or the best option to deliver a product to a client? Akhilesh, do you want to address that one first?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that is one of the things when, frankly, one of the main use case for which we built Fenix, right? So one of the challenges, especially if you think about large retailers, I mentioned, there are several of even Fortune 10, Fortune 50 retailers, they don't have the capability. And the challenge is they don't have real-time inventory visibility in place. That's number one. And even on the two, they don't have the ability to dynamically do this high-speed allocation rules application by factoring in different components. And then thirdly, from ship cost standpoint, right? So what Fenix does actually is, this is where I went through the kind of how we look at different components to decide which is the most optimal location by providing the best possible experience to the customer, at the same time keeping the shipping cost minimal and meeting the customer retailer brand's requirements capacity standpoint. That okay, that location can only handle 50 orders per day versus this one can handle 5,000 orders per day type of thing. Does that answer the question, Vince? Or did
I think so. I think there might be just there's the very simple case of, we know the zip code of the warehouse and we know the zip code of the customer, right? So in addition to looking at inventory levels and all the other more complicated factors, at a very basic level, you can find the closest fulfillment center to where the customer's address is just by comparing zip codes in the U.S. This question actually came from outside the U.S., but I think postal codes are similar in other places as well. So yeah, I think your answer was expanding even beyond that, Akhilesh, but I think it's good. Sampath, is there anything that you want to address with that question?
Sure, absolutely, right. So yeah, Akhilesh talked about the allocation. We have an allocation rule engine that actually goes beyond some of the things that Akhilesh talked about, because it adds and complements to what FenixCommerce is also doing, right? So they are looking at the trends, and we are looking at actual information in terms of whether a DC is available, if it is in a specific time zone. Are they open today? Is there a holiday? So we can look at more information, on real time, and also we can look at some of the shipping cost that can be used to decide whether you want to ship from here or there. So it's a collaboration between the two systems where we send the data to them, and they are able to get a much more accurate feel for what it needs to be, where it needs to be shipped from, and how efficient is going to be, and how cost savings will be playing into that decision. So we have a very powerful engine that can actually help with those.
Yeah, I think definitely the best solution to that problem is to have both systems work together. The next one I think is also applicable to both companies. The question is, what is your value proposition for subscriptions or recurring deliveries? And I'm going to let Sampath address this one first, and then we'll go to Akalash.
Sure. And typically, if you have seen subscription, it is the third-party, company that handles your subscription. What we do is that we build that as part of our OMS. When the order comes in, if it is marked as for subscription for a specific frequency or specific, repeat times, we take that as another object in the system and then use that to continuously create new orders as and when they are due. So the good thing about that is you don't have to pay extra for that kind of a feature and functionality, and that is typically expensive. And also with other companies, it becomes a transactional fees. We have built that as part of our solution that gives you one place where you can manage everything, whether it is reship, whether it is exchange, return orders, or subscription. So it all is covered, which is kind of nice, having an order management doing everything at one place.
Definitely. Akalash, do you want to say anything about subscriptions?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say a couple of things. We are actually working with several brands who have pretty healthy and kind of subscription business. And frankly, where they are using Fenix is, before using Fenix, kind of from scheduling these orders perspective, right? So subscription orders, most of the time, they have to arrive by a certain date. So now, from Fenix standpoint, given that we have factored in shipping, we are actually proactively communicating to them. These orders, these are your shipping options. When you should ship it by, which is the most effective shipping service? Should you choose to ship it 3, 4 days, 5 days, or even on the day off, right? So they can manage their workload, their fulfillment processes accordingly, because now they have this visibility and helping them save money, frankly, right? For some of the one of the retailers very recently with this capability, we helped them save on average of 54 cents per order by helping them choose the right shipping service when they are shipping out these orders, which is pretty phenomenal. If you do the math, it kind of, and that money, good thing is it goes straight away to the bottom line. The second area where it has been helping them for subscription order, because customer is not logging into the website, and a lot of times they forget, right? That okay, when am I going to get the product? This branded tracking page, actually, that message goes out, hey, your order is shipped, and right there, people again can click on it and see when am I going to get it, right? So again, same as your one-time purchases, subscription orders, the customers have the same when am I going to get it type of thing, right? So that question is also addressed very clearly, minimizing any customer context for the retailers.
Awesome. We are pretty close to out of time. We had one more question just come in, and I'd kind of like to give it a quick run through because I think it's relevant. And I'll throw it to Sampath first. The question is, how do you handle the difference between physical and logical inventory?
Yeah, so I think logical inventory, is something that we can take into account in terms of whether you are going to be selling it in the website, or it is just something that you are reserving it for other purposes. So we have a way to provision inventory that you are sellable, that is not sellable. So that is how we do it in our system, and we have a way to identify also, like sometimes the safety stock kind of situation. You can do safety stock also as part of the product that you set up. So for us, it doesn't matter whether it is a physical inventory or inventory that you are just using it from other places, or whether you want to reserve it for something else. We can differentiate it in our system in terms of whether you want to sell it. And also some of the downloadable things are, typically not inventory based, and we have a type of product called, the soft products or downloadable products that are not based on inventory. So you can set up inventory based on whether it is sold against inventory or not. And that's just a basic feature of our system.
Excellent. Cool. Well, we're out of time. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and I want to especially thank Sampath and Akhilesh for a really good discussion and good presentation. And we'll be sending out a link to the recording for the webinar afterwards, and watch your mailboxes for the next webinar we'll be putting on. Thanks everybody, and we'll go ahead and shut down the webinar now.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I don't know how to shut down the webinar. Where's the button?